Today it's math with Leonardo because I'm a good math kitty. Okay, let's get started. We're on page 99. Number 1 is 7. Number 2 is 89. Leonardo? Number 3 is 2 plus 2. Leonardo? Stop it, I'm teaching. Number 4 is, I don't care, boring. All right, sorry about him. He threw my pencil. Stupid. Okay, welcome back. Today we are going to be working on starting on page 231. So open your workbooks there. And again, we're going to be talking about independent and dependent variables. Okay, for number 12 through 15, you're going to identify the independent and the dependent variables. Let's do a couple together. The pages P in a book and the weight W of the book. Okay, so let's think about this. The more pages in a book, the heavier the book will be, right? So the pages in the book is a certain amount, and the weight is a certain amount. The weight is affected by the number of pages. So that means that the weight would be dependent, right? Because it's going to change depending on the number of pages. So the pages would be independent. And it would help if I could spell independent. Okay, let's look at number 13. The number of hamburgers, H, sold, and the dollar amount of sales taken in. Okay, let me think here. If you said, well, I made $500 on hamburgers because I sold 100 hamburgers. So the dollar amount is going to depend on how many you sell. So that means that S is dependent and H is independent. Would you agree, Leonardo? No. What do you think it is? Hamburgers is D. Why are hamburgers D? It stands for delicious. Hamburgy burgers. Leonardo, why don't you just kind of stay out of the video for now, okay? Fine. Stupid video anyway. All right. The pounds P of flour you buy and the number of bread loaves you want to make. Okay, think about that one. The temperature T of the water and the number of minutes M the water is in the freezer. Try those two, and then also try this. Write your own situation. Identify the independent and dependent variables. Okay? Why don't you pause it, try those three, and then come back when you want to check your answers. Okay, so for this one, independent is the number of loaves of bread you want to make, and it's dependent on the amount of flour you buy. Okay, temperature, independent is the minutes, and the dependent is the temperature of the water. All right, so here's one. A math test. S equals the score, C equals the correct answers. Independent is the correct answers, and the score depends on how many correct answers you get, right? Okay, so let's talk about the other ones on this page. Number 17, name at least 2 independent variables that could result in a change in the price of a basket of apples. What could cause the basket of apples to change? What are two things that would be independent variables? Okay. Critique reasoning. You spend C dollars for a P identical pairs of pants. Okay. A friend claims that because C increases if you increase P and P increases if you increase C, either C or P could be the independent variable. Is your friend right or wrong or just really, really annoying? Okay, that's a mouthful. C dollars for identical pairs of pants. Why are you buying identical pairs of pants? Anyway, a friend claims because C, so the cost increases if you increase the number of pants, and P increases if you increase the cost, either C or P could be the independent variable. Is your friend right or wrong or annoying and should just stop talking about your pants? Okay, think about that one. Number 19. The number of oranges in a bag and the cost of the bag of oranges are related. Okay? What is the independent variable in this relationship? Explain. Okay. And number 20, the dependent variable G represents the growth of a plant. What variable can represent independent variables in this situation? G represents the growth. What are some independent variables that could be involved in this situation? All right, think about those and write your answers and come back when you're ready to check them. Okay, so for this one, name at least two independent variables that could result in a change in the price of a basket of apples. The size of the basket, maybe a little basket costs this much and a big basket costs that much, and also the kind of apples. Some apples are more expensive than others, right? Okay, critiquing your friend's reasoning. Okay, first of all, your friend is irritating. Secondly, she's wrong. Okay, increasing the number of pants increases the amount you spend. Increasing the amount you spend could mean you bought something else. Maybe you bought a pair of pants and a rhinoceros, and that's why the cost went up, right? So your friend is both annoying and wrong. Okay, now the number of oranges in a bag and the cost of the bag of the oranges are related. So what are some independent variables? The number of oranges. The cost of the bag depends on how many oranges are in it. Okay? All right. And then finally, the independent variable G represents the growth of a plant. What variables can represent independent variables in this situation? Okay, for this one, I would like you to bring it to our small group meeting this week and tell me what you think. All right? Okay, let's go to the next page. All right. The table shows distances driven by the Williams family each day of their vacation. What is an independent variable that would affect the total distance they drove each day? So here's the table. Yikes, it's a lot of driving. 480 miles the first day, 260 miles the next day, then only 40, 150, 100, and 320. What is an independent variable that would affect the total distance they drove each day? Okay, name at least two dependent variables that could affect the amount of money the Williams family spends on meals during their vacation. Think about those and come back when you're ready to check your answers. All right, so the number of hours driven each day would affect that. That would be an independent variable that would affect the total distance they drove. Okay? All right, and then for this one, two independent variables, the number of people in the family and how often we eat. I put we because we actually are the Williams family. Okay, let's look at those next ones. For numbers 23 through 26, I want you to answer them and then come back and check your answers. The cost of a salad at a restaurant depends on many factors. List at least 2 independent variables that could affect the cost of a salad. Independent variables. Okay, number 24, Julian drove from New York to Florida. List at least 2 independent variables that could affect the number of days Julian took to make the trip. Number 25, the number of incorrect answers and the score on a math test are related. Yes, they are. What is the dependent variable in this relationship? So which thing depends on something else? Number 26, higher order thinking. Write a situation in which time, represented by t, is an independent variable. Then write a situation in which time, t, is a dependent variable. Okay, work on those 4 and then come back when you're ready to talk about your answers. Okay, for number 23, the size of the salad could affect it and the type of the salad. So small, medium, or large, obviously that will change the cost. And the type of salad, maybe all it is iceberg lettuce. That's going to be less expensive than like a steak and lobster salad. Is that a thing? Steak and lobster salad? I don't know. You get the idea. Okay, for number 24, your speed and also the number of hours would be independent variables that could affect the number of days it took Julian to get to Florida. All right, for number 25, the score is dependent on the number of wrong answers, right? And for number 26, it's dependent based on distance and pace, independent on how far they walked. So write a situation in which time, independent variable, then write a situation in which time, t, is a dependent variable. So dependent could be based on if you were walking and how far you got would be based on your distance and the pace. Independent would be the thing was how far you walked. For example, let's say you walked 10 miles. You walked 10 miles. That's independent. And then what the other things that could be dependent could be the pace that you were walking to get that distance. Make sense? Okay. Assessment practice. Jonas is concerned about the amount of water he uses to wash his laundry. Okay. He made a table to show the number of gallons of water used by different washing machines to complete a load of laundry. Jonas has a lot of time on his hands. So he made this table. And it says older top-loading washing machine uses 40 gallons of water. A new standard model uses 27, and an energy-efficient washing machine only uses 14. Okay, now, part A. Name 2 independent variables that could affect the amount of water Jonas uses to do laundry. And then part B. Identify the dependent variable and the independent variable in this sentence here. Jonas records the total cost, C, of the water he uses and the number of gallons of water, G, he uses. Okay, so the cost and the number of gallons. Which is dependent, which is independent. Okay, so for part A, the number of loads of laundry and the type of machine he uses. He can, depending on which of those machines that are in his table. And then for this, dependent would be the cost. It's dependent on the gallons of water he uses. The more gallons, the higher the cost. Okay. That is it for today. Tomorrow there are some really fun videos for you to watch, so be sure to check those out. Vsauce, and then I think there's another cool one in there too. So save questions for our small group meetings, or you can leave questions here or send them to me in an email. And don't forget to bring that one problem about the plant growth to our small group meeting. All right, bye. See you next time.